we would like to introduce ourselves.
Hi, my name is CJ. I'm the product manager for the cloud portfolio, and diligently working with Connie to bring this program to market. So thanks for joining.
And I'm Connie Tai. I'm the product manager for ITIL. Before we start with the presentation, I would like to say that this webinar lasts approximately 30 minutes, 20 minutes of presentation, and we'll spend the last 10 minutes on answering any questions that you have. We will use the mute button during the presentation. So if you have questions, please use the chat function in the webinar 2 menu. After that, we will unmute all of you so you can ask questions either using your microphone or the chat button at the end.
Thanks, Connie, and I guess that's the signal for me to get started. So today we'll be looking at a couple things. The first one I think is important is why ITIL and Cloud. So why are we offering this program now, and how can you position this to your clients? The second one is introducing the new programs. So as you've read in the newsflash, we are offering 2 new programs next month, both related to ITIL and Cloud. The third important aspect of this webinar is the train-the-trainer sessions that we're scheduling, and last we'll be talking about a couple of questions and answers. So I'll get right to it. So why combine ITIL and cloud computing? And the reason why is really that cloud is a technology that's very disruptive if not managed well, and also at the same time provides great opportunities. It's very significant if you look at the opportunities that you can leverage or create by using cloud computing. And I can give a couple examples. For example, I'm sure everybody here on the call is familiar with Sears. Well, they've recently they do a very good job in data management, storage, and analyzing, let's say, the purchasing information. And they do it so well that they've created, let's say, a big data subsidiary called Metascale. And I encourage you to have a look. It's pretty interesting, because they're now offering IT services to other companies as well. So Sears is adding a new business unit, basically, offering IT services. And it's a similar example we've obviously seen with Amazon, which started, as everybody knows, as a bookstore. And Amazon Web Services is now the fastest growing revenue component for that same company. Startup companies, they can also leverage technologies that normally only, let's say, listed companies would have access to, so they can, get to market and be much faster. For example, Instagram is a good example of that. But at the same time, there's also interesting trends related to cloud. And for example, bring your own device. It's difficult for ITs to organize that, but it's very positive as a trend, because now staff is connected all the time. They can work anywhere and increase productivity. And I mean, the disruptive nature really from cloud really comes from the reason that it touches every aspect of a business. So CFO now has tax implications, for example, on the bottom left. The finance manager needs to depend on new accounting models for cloud. The return on investment models will be different because there's a different cost structure. But also the operations manager has different tasks in the cloud domain. Managing the applications itself, provisioning from the cloud, but also, for example, billing, which are now subscription-based. So there's a lot of change coming to an organization, and today we'll obviously be looking at the operations manager and IT service managers in particular, but it really touches every aspect of an organization. And if we look at some of the roles that change, and again, the service manager will be listed here on the slide, as you can see in the middle. I mean, it touches so many roles, and for the one role, the responsibilities will change to a greater extent than for another role. But there's change as a result of cloud for every specific role. And not only in IT, but also the responsibilities of the business users change. So looking at HR, marketing, procurement, or finance, I mean, they all see an impact of cloud computing. You might be thinking, well, that's great, CJ, but that's just you saying it, and that's why I pulled up a couple examples that I'm not just the only one saying it. We, for example, Wanted Analytics did a research, and they show that 275% increase was stated in job ads for people with cloud competencies. And so the job growth for, let's say, cloud-related jobs is very significant, and it's being added to more and more roles. And what this slide does not show, but the research report did, is that the growth rate of cloud jobs is also increasing. Adding another statistic, and the IDG, they did a research among CIOs, and 67% said that the IT function has to adapt to manage the cloud. And that's, I mean, very significant. And the question that we ask our partners, but which question you can ask your clients is, are your clients adapting to this new situation yet? Because again, it's very significant. So having made my case for cloud computing and cloud and ITIL, how does cloud really impact ITSM? And to do this on a 30-minute webinar is obviously not possible. And I really encourage you to have a look. Just Google ITIL and Cloud, and you'll find a lot of interesting white papers or links that could be very relevant to you. Obviously, I have selected a couple of examples just to go over briefly to give you a flavor of what is different with cloud and ITSM and how do they relate. And for example, I mean, cloud offers a new source of IT supply to service strategy, the provisioning part. And for the existing IT department, it can be seen as a threat because the cloud services are so easily accessible and affordable. And sometimes we see that IT departments fight this, but they should really change their role and help customers procure services from the external provider and bring value to that process. So really helping the customer with the business outcome of the IT service and not just managing the service itself. Another example that I touch on briefly is in-house system management. I mean, I could probably fill a 30-minute webinar just by examples alone, but I'll just have another 2 examples for you. For example, being in control of your assets and knowing the current state of these and having the appropriate change management is usually important for organizations. And there's pros and cons in comparison to in-house system management. When you, for example, you look at service providers, they have a release calendar regardless of your preferences. And Salesforce.com, they have a winter and a summer release, and yeah, that's basically what they offer, and you have to take it or leave it. In addition, service providers may sometimes even be highly competent in change management, and usually for the larger ones better than your own change management process is. So there will be pros and cons to cloud computing, and what we want to make sure is that people who take, let's say, an ITIL foundation class they understand how cloud will impact them, and that they are ready to basically make the right choices. Last example that I'll touch on quickly is the security policies. So usually the cloud providers, certainly the larger ones, have extensive security policies and descriptions of the audits that they perform. And when you're looking at, let's say, service providers versus in-house approaches, you should compare these policies that they have to yours. And I can probably make a case that the high-ranking cloud providers usually have measures that far exceed an industry best practice, and so the risk would be limited. There will always be some risks if you look at working with external providers. For example, if the service provider goes out of business, or if the government interferes, or perhaps that network connectivity is interrupted. I mean, those risks you have to manage yourself, obviously. But most of the risk will be covered by the cloud provider. So I hope these examples that I touched on briefly give you an idea of why we are offering these 2 new programs that Connie will be explaining in detail. So we have the 3-day program and the 4-day, and I'll swap seats with Connie, and she'll continue with providing some information about these programs.
Thank you, CJ. We are very pleased to introduce 2 new courses we have designed and developed with ITIL and Cloud. So we have the 4 days ITIL Foundation plus Cloud Essentials, and the 3 days ITIL Foundation plus Cloud Introduction course. Before we go into details on each of these courses, I would like to highlight the key benefits of these courses for you, our partners, and for your learners. Benefits for you, for partners of ITpreneurs. These new offerings provide differentiation of your ITIL Foundation training, and you may even want to consider asking for premium prices for the training. It offers 2 highly recognized certificates in their respective domains, both ITIL Foundation and also the CompTIA Cloud Essentials exams. And you can tap into the cloud markets, expanding your customer base with many, many organizations that are looking to build cloud competencies. And what about your learners? They get 2 recognized certificates in 4 days. So they only need to ask once to attend 2 training. So it doubles the value of the ITIL training. And for the learners also, they can differentiate themselves by showing that as IT service professionals, they're ready for cloud computing and also creating value for their organization by having the capability to and the understanding to leverage cloud computing as a solution for IT service management. So all in all, they become even more successful IT practitioners. Now I want to give you more information on how the 2 courses will be scheduled for the 3-day course. So what is the 3-day course with ITIL Foundation and Cloud Introduction? We have added 2 hours of cloud content, including a case study. So it will still be part of the case study in the ITIL Foundation, the Royal Chow Praya Hotel. At the end of the module about service strategy, we will use that as a point of entry to introduce the cloud computing part. Currently in our courseware, we do not have a specific case study exercise at this module. So, and also conceptually, cloud fits well into service strategy as it involves rethinking the business approach and also considering the implications of cloud for service strategy concepts like utility and warranty and so forth. And for the 4-day course with ITIL Foundation and Cloud Essentials together. The ITIL Foundation is a 3-day course, as you know, and the Cloud Essentials course is a 2-day course. We're able to fit in just 4 days since the ITSM content in the Cloud Essential course overlap with the ITIL Foundation course content. So we're able to save some time there. Also, we have slightly reduced discussion time, but we still keep the course content interactive. On day 1, we'll have a short cloud computing introduction, but most of the day covers the ITIL Foundation area. On day 2, it's primarily covering all the cloud computing aspects. And on day 3, when we talk about service operations in ITIL, we'll also bring in the operating cloud computing. And on day 4, learners will have the opportunity to review the cloud computing course and also take the exam. After lunch, again, like usual in the past, also they will review the ITIL Foundation course and also take the ITIL Foundation exam. The Cloud Essentials is the foundation course in cloud computing. It addresses the business and technical perspectives of cloud computing. It will also explain how to adopt, operate, and govern the cloud, recognizing compliance, risks, regulatory consequences, and also explaining the typical steps that are required to lead to successful adoption of cloud computing, and also the impacts of that on IT service management. So all in all, with this new offering, they will understand how cloud computing can be leveraged as a solution for IT service management. The Cloud Essentials exam is jointly developed by the Cloud Credential Council and CompTIA. And these are the organizations that are running and that have adopted the ITpreneurs Cloud Essentials courseware. So on that note, I will pass on to my colleague again, CJ.
Oh yes, it's time for a poll. So after, since Connie has now explained to us the 3-day program, which is basically the ITIL plus Cloud Introduction for 2 hours, and the 4-day Cloud Essentials course and ITIL Foundation course, and we'd like to see which of the courses are you most interested in. So I'll launch a poll in just a second, and if you could just bear with us and then select which option you prefer most, either the 4-day course, the 3-day ITIL Foundation with the Cloud Introduction to give, let's say, ITIL more meaning, or if you're equally interested. So I see that almost half the people have voted. So I'll stop talking so you can think about it for a couple of seconds, and then we'll continue. I see that almost everybody has voted now. Hope it didn't distract anybody who was just making their final pick. But I'll close the poll, and I will share it with you if you like. So what we see here is the 4-day 2 certs is pretty popular, but also a lot of people find the both offerings equally interested. So that's yeah, it's good to hear, and we appreciate your feedback on this. That helps us to gauge what you find most interesting and what we can support you with. So I'll close the poll, Connie, and then we can continue, or I can continue, I should say. So the trainer program. So after being very excited, I would assume that about these programs, we appreciate that you attend these webinars. I mean, next step is, well, how do you provide this program? And you can either leverage ITpreneurs trainers, of course, or work with your own trainers, but they would need to go through a trainer-trainer program to offer either the 4-day class or the 3-day class, because we find it very important that if a trainer runs a class and they get questions on, that are cloud or virtualization related, that the trainer can actually answer those questions. So TTTs are to be scheduled in October, and the requirements to become a cloud trainer is one that you need to have instructor experience, and usually that criteria is already met by most of the ITIL trainers. And second of all, they need to have cloud experience. If you're not sure whether you have cloud experience or not, or whether it would count as a cloud experience, we've created a self-assessment. So if you would like to become a trainer, or you would like to send the self-assessment to a trainer at your company, then please send me an email by using the email address on the bottom there. If you write that down, or I believe it's also in the invitation, but if you write it down, you can send me an email, and then I can send the self-assessment to you. The third requirement is that anybody who runs this course needs to have to pass the CompTIA Cloud Essentials exam. And if you meet the requirements, you can do an online TTT, so that's 2 to 4 hours. If you don't have any cloud experience, or you're lacking certain skills, then we would ask you to take part in an offline trainer program that gets you prepared to run the Cloud Essentials training courses. So you can either run those as the ITIL as part of the ITIL course, or you can also run a standalone Cloud Essentials course. And then again, I'd like to get your input onto, since we're now scheduling the webinars taking place about every week in October, there's still a couple slots left, and what I'd like to see if which of the slots would you prefer best. So I'm again opening a poll here, and if you can just select which of the slots would be most appropriate for you. So Monday through Friday, when we start 7 to 9 local time, that is. So we have to schedule different TTTs depending on location. Or if you say, no, I would rather do it after work between 8 and 10, but the weekend is also possible. I see everybody's very active on the call, Connie. That's good to see, because almost everybody has voted, and the results are
yeah, that's excellent. No?
Are pretty mixed. I mean, it seems that that there's no definite preference. I mean, there's almost equal score for all the slots. So I guess we'll have to we'll have to discuss all of them. So I'll close the poll. Thank you for providing the information to us. And I think with that, there's only a couple more things to do. One is the first delivery 2012 promotion. So we highly encourage you to run this program still in 2012. And there's reduced pricing for running this course for the first time. And please contact the regional business manager within ITpreneurs, because they have access to that introduction pricing. Also, with these first deliveries, you will receive cloud simulation licenses. And if you have not seen that product yet, have a look at cloudchallenge.com. So for the first delivery in 2012, there's introduction pricing available for you, and you receive cloud simulation licenses for all your students. And here's just a list of some of the information we have available to you to go to market. And as partners, you received access to the ITpreneurs Partner Portal, or we can also share it with you offline. And that are, for example, white papers, webinars that we continuously schedule, marketing and enablement material, fact sheets, and also cheat sheets to help you sell and have a good answer for maybe tough questions. So this is all kind of like information that's available to you as an ITpreneurs partner or trainer. And with that, I think we get to the end, Connie.
Yes, CJ. Shall we unmute?
Well, I would suggest that if people have a question, and I can have a look if they do, then please put them in the question panel box area. We got one comment already. Thank you, Julie, for saying that you love the portal. Very excited that you're probably one of the first that has access to this. And so good to hear, and yeah, we appreciate the feedback. Let's see what we have.
We have a question about, can you tell me more about the Cloud Essentials exam, CJ?
Yes, that is Brian. The question related to the exam is pretty easy to answer. The Cloud Essentials exam is a 1-hour multiple choice exam that can be taken either at the end of a training course or at Pearson VUE testing centers. So basically you can find information on our website as well, on itpreneurs.com/cloud. And so it's a 1-hour exam, 50 questions. And more information can either be found on the ITpreneurs website or come to you. And somebody asked, what is the difference between a regular ITIL Foundation and the Cloud? Say the flavor with Cloud included in it. Well, there's content-wise, Connie, I don't think there's anything cut, right?
No.
The same content.
Exactly.
Yep. So the answer to that question, I guess, would be that the content is similar. Nothing within the ITIL material is cut. I think that were the questions for today, unless everybody, I'm just skimming through the questions here to see if I have answered all the questions correctly. So thanks again for attending this webinar. Appreciate your time. Hope this was useful. If you do have any questions, please let us know. I'm just thinking whether you can either contact your regional business manager or contact Connie or myself. Thanks for joining, and make it a great day.
Yes, thank you very much.
Bye-bye.